Hello everyone, my name is John, I'm the Geeky Fanboy, and welcome back to Baker Street Reviews, this time airing from the white void that is my parents' place, because I'm spending the holidays with my parents, and holidays is exactly what we're here for, because today we are watching a Christmas episode of Sherlock Holmes. Yes, there is indeed a Christmas story within the Sherlock Holmes canon, namely The Blue Carbuncle, which is one of the short stories published in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, so the first couple of short stories that got published. And today we are watching an adaptation of that very same short story. I think that was actually the first adaptation of this short story. I'm talking about the 1968 adaptation starring Peter Cushing as Sherlock Holmes. Now, what kind of adaptation are we talking about here? This is the BBC's second TV series that covered Sherlock Holmes adaptations. The first one, I think, was from the 50s. Now we're talking 1965 to 1968. And actually, the first series didn't have Peter Cushing as Sherlock Holmes. They had Douglas Wilmer in the first series of Sherlock Holmes and Nigel Stalk as Dr. Watson. Now, Douglas Wilmer played Sherlock Holmes for the first series of this TV show, but then him and the production crew had some beef going on. He didn't really like how the scripts were written, how rehearsal days were scheduled and all that. So he jumped off, and for the second series of the show, they looked for a new actor. And Peter Cushing, having played Sherlock Holmes before in a movie we have watched on this channel before, The Hound of the Baskervilles in 1959, they asked him to redo the part, and him being a big Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Sherlock Holmes fan, agreed to playing Sherlock Holmes again. This is a TV show I have watched a couple of episodes before, not all of them, also because it's quite hard to watch all of the episodes for this TV show, because this is one of the BBC shows that, similar to Doctor Who, has missing episodes, because back in the 50s and 60s, the BBC had this habit of like erasing or retaping just old TV show episodes that they already had, because they didn't have a lot of tape back then. So they just reused some of the old ones, which is why we have, for example, missing Doctor Who episodes. And in this case, we also have missing Sherlock Holmes episodes, especially from this second season, starring Peter Cushing. So today we are watching actually the very final episode of this series. It aired on the 23rd of December 1968, so we're actually celebrating this episode's anniversary today, which I think is quite fitting, not just for the anniversary, but also for the holidays, because the Blue Carbuncle is set on around Christmas time in London. It features a goose that needs to be eaten for Christmas. It has a blue carbuncle, which is a precious, precious jewel. We've got some thievery and crimes. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson running around London trying to find out what has happened to the goose and to the blue carbuncle. We have some classic deductions. It's all in there. I reread the story a couple of days ago to sort of refamiliarize myself before we're jumping into this. So what am I expecting? I'm expecting just like a good old classic Sherlock Holmes adaptation, similar to what we would later get in the 80s with Jeremy Brett. I've mentioned it before when we spoke about the 1950s Hound of the Baskervilles movie. I'm a big fan of Peter Cushing in the role. I think he definitely has this sort of eccentric, slightly dark, but also charming energy that I think is perfect for Sherlock Holmes, and Peter Cushing being a huge fan of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Sherlock Holmes, the character. I think you can definitely tell that he had a lot of passion for this character, even though at the time when he was filming the show, like in the later episodes, and given that this is literally the last episode of the show, he was also having some problems with the production team in the background, and he also later said that he put in some performances that he didn't like that much. I have, I think, seen this episode before. However, it's been literal years, so this is probably just as new to me as it is to you. I am watching this episode on YouTube, so if you want, I'm gonna put the link down in the description. If you want, you can watch the episode before this, after this, along with me. As always, I'm gonna put together a little edit of me reacting to the episode, put in some of my thoughts while watching, and then at the end, we're gonna do a little review of the episode, the adaptation, what I think works, what I think doesn't work. Then we'll have ourselves a nice little Christmas Baker Street review. That's it for the preamble. There isn't that much more I really want to say, so let's get Christmassy and jump into the episode. I've always been a big fan of the opening for this show. It feels very classic. Like it's very minimalistic, but I think in a good way. Like, shows you all the important things, you know, the chemistry sets, some medical equipment, stuff for Dr. Watson. There's a good crime feeling, I think. I do like the set and the costume design. Like, feels very classic.
How you startled me.
The workman is coming to fix the grate.
Lady Morcar is only just gone.
And she will not be back for an hour.
No.
Oh, we're getting saucy.
You said the man was due.
He doesn't matter.
Oh, I did not expect that. For God's sake, it's the 60s, sir. Show some decency.
Good morning. I come to see the fire. Just about time too, Horner. You're late. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Ryder. I only just got a call. Yes, we'll get on with it now.
Get on with it, so I can snog. So I can keep snogging the lady.
And, deal with that other matter.
Very well, sir.
Oh, okay. The workman's doing his thing. Meanwhile, he's off to just like go shagging. How professional.
That's the manager. Some of the police have been robbed. Your references are very
Best
satisfactory,
shocked
Mr. Holmes.
face.
Lawson
There he
Simon
is.
was almost
There he is,
wholesome
the
in
man,
his
the myth, the
praise.
legend.
Very kind of him.
I have decided you are the correct person to undertake the recovery of my Blue Carbuncle.
Lady Morcar, I have been trying to explain I cannot accept your commission.
Nonsense.
My time over this Christmas period will be completely occupied.
Nonsense, Mr. Holmes. You will listen.
I don't know what it is about the way Peter Cushing. Maybe it's just his voice. Maybe it's just how he enunciates. I don't know. I've honestly never. I don't think I've seen him in anything else except Sherlock Holmes. I just love how he sounds because he has this very I don't quite know how to put it, interesting way of speaking, where he sounds very educated and almost academic, ever so slightly condescending. I think where he has this air of, yes, I will explain this to you. And I mean, to me, it's very obvious, but I will explain it to you anyway because I think it is interesting. But I'm surprised you haven't caught it. You know, that it's sort of that kind of air where he sounds very smart and educated, but is also excited to sort of like point out why you missed that thing, and he's gonna tell you now. I don't know. I've always been a huge fan of how Peter Cushing plays this character. So let's see how he handles this case.
Not immediately.
He looks a bit annoyed
I advise
there.
you to leave this affair in the hands of the police.
I don't think you could have understood me, Mr. Holmes. I will pay a large sum, a very large sum, for the recovery of the gem. You will take the appointment.
No, Lady Morcar.
You're impertinent, sir.
I have given you my advice.
You refuse to help me.
The best facilities for tracing
I
your
love
jewel
this
are
back
in
and
the hands of
forth.
the Metropolitan Police.
You are perverse, Mr. Holmes. In spite of the fact that I have decided you are the correct person to undertake this quest, you deliberately flout me. Now, why, sir?
Your case is that of a sneak thief, Lady Morcar. There is not a single aspect of it which was of any interest to me. Good day, Lady Morcar.
I love this exchange here. Let's pause here for a minute. I absolutely love this exchange because you can just see how Holmes works as a character. I love that you can tell that this lady is not used to having someone tell her no, to having her demands not met. And she obviously goes to Sherlock Holmes because she thinks he's the best man for the job because she's heard of him. and will think, if I just throw a lot of money at the problem, it'll solve itself, and this is what this man is here to do, and if I throw a lot of money at him, he'll solve my problem. But that's what I love about Sherlock Holmes. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if you're like, I don't know what she is, like some lady, some duchess. He doesn't care if you're the freaking king of Bohemia. He will treat you the same regardless of your status, of your class. So show the same kind of interest or non-interest in this case, in the case that's put before him. And I love how he never really like moves away from that. How it's all about, you know, the interest, the mystery itself for him. That even if you throw a lot of money at him, if the case just isn't interesting, he will not want to work it. That's just how basically his work ethic works. If he deems the problem worthy enough of his mental capacity, he will work on it, regardless of if the Duchess is offering it to him, regardless of if the working class like workman is offering it to him. That's all it is about. And I love that he never like moves away from that. He never like backs down. He treats that lady exactly how he would treat anyone else, and she's clearly not used to it. And I don't know, I love seeing that here. Because he always tries to stay polite. He like makes his opinion clear. He's not necessarily impolite, but he makes it very clear what he wants, and seems almost, even though it's understandable to us as the viewer why the lady is a bit put off by how he's behaving. I love that he doesn't even seem to maybe entirely understand what was wrong here. Maybe that he like goes after and is like, oh well, good day to you, and he even has this like slight sound in his voice where he's like, okay, I mean, I was being polite. I don't know why she's leaving now like that. I don't know, I just really like that exchange now, because I think it showcases who Sherlock Holmes is and how he works as a person.
Yes, I hope your 2 days in the country will do you good.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hudson has been warned not to expect you back until the 23rd. That is correct?
Yes.
Excellent.
Holmes.
Then you'll be able to accompany me to a recital in the afternoon of Christmas Eve.
Eh? Oh, yes,
Yay.
of course. But Holmes, who was that lady who just left?
Oh, the Countess of Morcar. It is a light but interesting program. You see?
I love how homely this feels. Like Holmes is getting dressed. They're just talking. They're talking about domestic things. They're going out. I love that.
I was unable to engage my interest. It was a dull and petty case. Besides, I would rather Lestrange's Christmas was disturbed than mine. I shall get 2 tickets for that concert.
Good heavens. Irene Adler. Holmes says she's going to sing at the Queen's Hall.
I shall be
Oh,
interested
nice
to
little
see if her
reference
musical
here.
talent is equal to her other powers. I'm told her tessitura is quite remarkable.
Did not expect that as a
Beg your pardon?
as a little reference here. I like it. Now, this is where the actual story begins. When you read the short story, Holmes investigating a hat that he received. This is where the story normally begins.
Mrs. Dixon at the station. She asked me to remember. You're on a case?
No.
Oh, I love how excited Watson
Now
looks.
tell me about that hat. I'm delighted to see you back. It is lonely here without you. I trust you return my compliments to Mrs. Dixon. Now, what do you find?
What do you want me to find?
Everything. Take your time. Now, that hat is the trophy of one of those whimsical little incidents which will happen when you have 4 million people all jostling each other within the space of a few square miles.
Taking dialogue directly from the short story. Very nice.
Ordinary. HB are embossed inside. How am I doing?
Very well. Go on.
Well, it's very dusty.
Look at Holmes's face. He's like, yeah, you've got Watson.
Yes. Someone has tried to cover up the spots with black ink.
Oh, look at the Holmes nodding in the background, like sort of
Yes,
encouraging
yes,
him like
secure.
he's a
Now,
student.
Miss-
I love that.
Excellent, my dear Watson. Continue.
That's all.
All?
I know he looks so disappointed.
Well, I mean, it's very large and rather disreputable. What?
Now, this once excellent hat is 3 years old. These flat brims curled at the edges only came into fashion then. If our man could afford such a hat 3 years ago, but has not bought another since, or replaced the Secura, then he has surely come down in the world.
Yes, clear enough. But please, Holmes, just for my peace of mind, confound me further by telling me why his wife has ceased to love him.
Well, now, this hat has not been brushed for weeks.
I love that you can really sense that Holmes is getting a lot of entertainment and fun and joy out of this, like with the little giggles and the enthusiasm that he's putting into his voice here.
Thank you. Something I meant to give you before.
Does Watson have a Christmas present? This is so adorable.
It's a small present for Christmas.
Oh, it's so nice.
My dear old friend.
It's such a nice detail.
Very kind of you. Would you mind?
Oh, look at that face. Because I don't think that's in the actual story, but it's such a sweet detail.
And I had so very nearly run out. Thank you. Well, I'm afraid it's not your usual blend, that dreadful black shag, but I feel like it. My dear
And put it in the Persian slipper. Accurate.
Well, that's not like you. Oh, it's merely a token.
Yes, but I regret that the exchanging of presents at Christmas time is something about which I am notoriously lax.
My dear Holmes, it's of no matter. I wonder...
Yes?
I would greatly enjoy a fill of it.
Oh, why, of course.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pause here for a minute because this is utterly adorable. I mean, if you've watched a couple of my other Baker Street reviews, you know that I'm a huge fan of when adaptations go very domestic with life at Baker Street, because I just love that. Because in the stories, while most of it is about solving the crime and who done it and all that, we often get these like little moments, especially in the openings of these short stories or also the novels, where Holmes and Watson are just hanging out at Baker Street, talking about day-to-day stuff, doing a classic deduction. That's how a lot of the stories start or also end. And I love it when adaptations sort of embrace that and show us what day-to-day life at Baker Street is like. Because Watson in the stories would often throws in like little details about what their daily life is like, what Holmes usually does. It's just like oftentimes just like little throwaway lines, but I love it when adaptations expand on that. And this is such a nice little detail of that, because it is Christmas, and naturally Watson would give Holmes a present, and of course Holmes is thankful, but also like, I'm kind of forgetful about giving presents at Christmas. I love that, also because you can tell that the chemistry between the two actors, I think, is brilliant here, and I love how utterly honest and passionate the friendship and the feelings here come through, because you can see that Watson is sort of giddy about being able to give Holmes a present that he himself has chosen and that he knows that he will value, because he's an avid smoker. And I love that you can just see Holmes's face light up with delight that his best friend has given him a present, that you can tell that he feels sorry that he himself can't give anything back. And then this little thing here at the end where Watson's like, well, couldn't we just smoke it together? And I just think that is such a nice intimate moment between these two friends, and I absolutely adore it when adaptations do that, which I just wanted that to highlight here because I just absolutely adore it, and it's wonderful and sweet.
Got to see you, Mr. Holmes. It's a ghost, sir.
Eh? What of it then? Has it returned to life and flapped off through the kitchen window?
Oh, no, sir.
Oh, and just to hear adorable.
Positive, Mrs. Hudson, thank you. Well,
You look here, sir. You see what my wife found in its crop.
good heavens!
Ooh, here we go. Now we're talking.
Jove, Peterson, this is treasure trove indeed. I suppose you know what you've got.
That's a massive prison cell, or does it just seem like that? That is some excellent cinematography though, like framing him just like very small in the corner compared to like the rest of the room. Is something sad gonna happen? Please don't. No, don't. It's Christmas, sir. It's Christmas. Oh. Well, now someone has to solve the case for his sake. Holmes playing the violin, always love it when it happens. And again, feels very domestic. Holmes just playing the violin, Watson playing cards. I love it. Feels like every day-to-day life in Baker Street. Excellent. Yes, Watson gets to do some doctoring. We love it when Watson gets to be a proper doctor and help out.
I seem to be dog-eyed.
Never did. God's my judge, I never did.
Take it carefully now, take it carefully. You're going to be all right. I must congratulate you, Sergeant, on your prompt rescue. He had no time to do himself any real harm.
Please, you go help me.
No, then, enough of that. Like them all, Dr. Watson, he claims he's innocent.
I am.
It's a hard case.
Sergeant. Will you leave me with my patient?
It's irregular, sir, I don't know. He might do you a violence.
I am a physician, not a judge. I see no violence in him, and precious little that is criminal.
Is such a sweet
won't
moment
harm
for
me.
Watson here.
Well, sir,
Taking
I
care
don't
of his
know.
patient, calling out the policeman, taking care of the man that actually does need
It was a
help.
foolish thing to try.
Fantastic moment for Watson.
If you're innocent, they'll find it out at the trial.
Mr. Holmes?
How do you do, sir? My colleague, Dr. Watson.
Delighted to make your acquaintance.
How do you do?
I am led by your advertisement in last evening's newspaper to believe that you have possession of some articles of mine. To be precise, a hat and a goose.
Mr. Henry Baker, I presume?
A Harold Baker. My lady.
I love Watson's little giggle
I
here.
live with my
Where he's like,
sister-in-law,
called
and
it.
The goose is for her.
Pray, take a seat, Mr. Baker.
Our inquiries, Watson, they confirm Horner's guilt.
I cannot believe it will be so.
In any case, we have a line of investigation that has been missed by Lestrade, and which by mere chance has fallen into our hands. Let us follow it to the end. And now for Mr. Breckinridge. Faces to the south, then. And quick march.
Again, little moments of humour that I think really work. By the way, this Baker Street looks excellent, looks very close to what the museum looks like when you visit it in London. With the fireplace and the bookcase and the lounging chairs. Bit messy, but not too much. Love it, good look.
I'm not surprised you should take such an interest in it.
Why, what do you mean?
It laid an egg after it was dead. A beautiful, bright, blue egg.
That's mine!
Hold on, man, you'll be in the fire. That's it, Watson.
Yeah, Watson, get him. Yeah. Watson will punch a guy. I'm convinced Watson would punch a guy.
Blood enough to go into felony with impunity. What a shrimp it is, to be sure. You knew that you could accuse Horner, and that suspicion would rest easily upon him because he had been in trouble before. I suppose you arranged that he was to be the one to come and do the repair in Lady Morcar's dressing room.
Yes, he did. We saw it literally the first
Ladyship
scene.
had been complaining as usual, and the regular man was away.
So you and this woman, Cusack, seized your opportunity. After Horner had left, you rifled the jewel case, raised the alarm, and had the unfortunate man arrested.
You'll never forgive myself, Mr. Holmes. For pity's sake, have mercy on me.
No.
I've never done nothing wrong before. You got to believe
I'm not
me.
going to have mercy on you. A man almost died because of you.
Get up and sit over there.
Oh, I love the tone in Holmes' voice here.
It's all very well for you to cringe and crawl now that you're found out, but what about Horner? You sent him to the dock for a crime he knew nothing about.
Yeah, I'll write a confession.
I love the
I'll-
sense
I'll
of
leave the
justice
country.
here.
I'll do anything it's the truth, Mr. Holmes. I swear, every word is true.
I can't take
Oh,
this
but
man
you didn't
seriously.
think
He,
without
he almost
got
got
anything
a
from
man killed because of his
which I lost my
stupid
character.
theory and his stupid plan.
God,
Such a
Mr.
fool.
Holmes.
Right.
And now look at this pathetic little man.
I'm here.
I love how Holmes almost sounds like he hates having to deal with this man.
You have about 12 hours before the police see this, so go.
I know the Holmes is usually the bigger man in matters like this, but I love that. I love that. Short break here. I love that you can tell that Holmes hates doing this because he doesn't approve of this guy, doesn't like him. But Holmes usually does stuff like this where he's like, okay, I'll give you one more chance. But I love that in this case you can tell that he doesn't like doing that. That he does this because he thinks, you know, that's the right thing to do, not because he likes this man. I love that there's this sense of seriousness and severity to Holmes's voice here. How he's been talking to the man, how he's reacting. I love that. I think it gives a very strong sense of who Holmes is as a man, how he deals with work ethic. Or I don't know. It was a good moment.
Hi there, Lady Morcar.
Mr. Holmes.
I believe this is yours.
Carbuncle.
Your maid has run off with the man who removed it from your room. Fortunately, he lost it. This gentleman found it and brought it to me. I have no doubt you wish to reward him. Come, Watson, our commission is at an end. Good day.
Oh, that's just so stupid, Carbuncle. Carbuncle, honestly. This one doesn't even deserve to have it back. I don't like her.
Thank you, my dear Holmes, thank you. I wouldn't mind being knocked down 100 times by her just to see you do that again.
My dear Watson, we must return to Baker Street and undertake another investigation, in which also a bird will be the chief feature.
I love the joking between these two. Here we go. I stand. Roll end credits. Sherlock Holmes, Peter Cushing, Dr. Watson, Nigel Stock. That was a lot of fun. Very Christmassy. Very, I don't like sort of cozy crime. I like it. Let's talk about it a bit more in the review. Okay, here we are. End of the episode. End of the Blue Carbuncle. I like it. It's a story I like a lot. So much so that many years ago I tried writing a BBC Sherlock fan fiction adaptation of the Blue Carbuncle. So yeah, I'm biased towards the story. I like it. It doesn't have like a huge Christmas theme apart from like, you know, the whole goose thing, and it's set around Christmas. But I wish we had some snow or something. That would have been nice. I mean, 1968 fake snow. But I don't know. Regardless of that, I think it works very well. It's like a cozy crime, low stakes, relatively low stakes. To be fair, a man almost died or was innocently sent to prison. But compared to like other Holmes stories, I think it kind of has low stakes. And I think this was a wonderful adaptation of this story. I absolutely adore Peter Cushing in this role. Like I said in the beginning, I just love what kind of eccentric energy he brings to the character, the sense of seriousness, eccentricity. Like there's almost something exotic and weird about Holmes, but then he's also very charming, can be very humorous if he wants to be. Like, he's polite, but always chooses his moments where he needs to be serious, where he needs to speak a harsh word. But when he's hanging out with Watson, he is homely, he's having fun, he's making jokes. I love that you can tell that here, that you get all the different mixtures of the facets of the character. I think you can see those very well in this portrayal here. And I think Nigel Stock and Peter Cushing have excellent chemistry. I don't know what Nigel Stock is like with whose name I don't remember right now, the previous actor who played Sherlock Holmes in this adaptation. I don't know what their chemistry is like, but I think Peter Cushing and Nigel Stock have excellent chemistry here. Like I've mentioned throughout the viewing montage, I love it when adaptations do domestic moments in like day-to-day life in Baker Street, and I love when you can tell that Holmes and Watson are just like really used to one another, that you can tell that they're friends, they've known each other for a long time, and you can tell that here because they just act very natural around each other. They're like doing casual conversation, like getting dressed, they're having breakfast together, they're having tea together, they talk about going to the opera. They talk about having Christmas dinner together. They give each other Christmas presents. They're discussing cases in between. Holmes is excited to tell Watson about a new deduction he's making, but he also gives Watson his moments to shine, where he's almost like a giddy little teacher. I just love it when you can tell that Holmes and Watson are having fun together. Like they have their little in-jokes, they have their little private jokes. You can see that Watson is like a little bit funny when he realizes that Holmes made like a tiny mistake, and he's taking the piss out of Holmes for that, and Holmes is also sort of getting back on him as well. I just love when you have little moments like this, and I think Nigel Stock and Peter Cushing play this very, very well. That you get this sense of that they've known each other for quite a while, that they can do this, that they feel comfortable with one another, that Holmes has his eccentricities, but Watson has learned to live with them, and he's sort of allowed to make fun of them because they've just known each other for such a long time and are such good friends that they can just do that. And I know Watson has mostly like a very like neutral companion role in this story, but I love that he gets like his one or two moments to shine here, because Watson gets to show that he's a doctor. He gets to visit the guy in prison after he tried to take his own life, and he has this moment of where he's like, okay, can I be alone with my patient? I'm taking care of him. This is my job. This is what I've learned. This is what I'm doing. I'm taking care of people who are ill. I love that you get this moment here, just where you can tell this is what Watson does when he's not solving crimes. That's who he is. That's what he does. That's his priority, taking care of people, trying to solve problems with Holmes, but also always looking out for the weak ones. I love that you can definitely tell that that this is important to Watson here. I love that Watson is also roped into like the case of not that he's not just a neutral observer as he often is, but that, well, first, as we saw, which is also what we get in the original short story, that Holmes asks him, hey, how about you try deducing something about this hat, and then I'll tell you what I see. I love when Holmes sort of invites Watson to his own world and asks him to like all sort of like apply his methods that he's learned from Holmes over the years, and that, as we saw, like when they go to the pub and stuff, that Watson also gets involved with the conversation, tries to gather information, tries to help out Holmes when he's applying a route, when he's doing a trick. I just love that there's a sort of there's a sense of like a natural sense of them just getting along, that they know how the other one ticks, they just know how to help each other out instantly. They have their little moments of doubt, but they always support each other. And I know that's like a lot for like such a little episode, but I love that you get these moments in this, and you can see it. And I'm sure that the rest of the show is very similar to this. I mean, if you like the show and if you like this adaptation, we can definitely come back to it, especially also with the other actor in the first series of the show. I would love to cover this again, because this has a great casual vibe, like almost like cozy crime. It feels very similar to what we get with Jeremy Brett later in the 80s, where it just feels very accurate and close to the original stories, where you have an actor that can just like carry the whole show because he just understands Sherlock Holmes as who that character is supposed to be, what his eccentricities are, what his true core characteristics are, and then you have him alongside an actor who he has excellent chemistry with, who doesn't just play Watson as the fool and as the neutral observer, but that these two are almost on like equal levels. And I think this show does this very well. Like even before the Jeremy Brett show did it, obviously, sure, you can tell that it's lower budget. You have like the sets, you can tell that it's a set, and it feels a bit simplistic in how it's done. But I think that just adds to like this sort of homely, cozy feeling that you get with this adaptation. And I think it's great if you just like wanna if you just like want to watch a casual Sherlock Holmes episode, you can put this on easily and get entertained and have a great and very accurate representation of who the famous detective is alongside and someone who knows who Watson is. And I think this is an excellent episode. This was a lot of fun. It's a very close adaptation of the original, the Blue Carbuncle story. It just adds like one or two little details, but it mostly sticks very close to the original story, which is something I always love to see, of course, because I'm a bit of a purist. I love it when it stays very close to the canon. When I'm just like that, but I love that you can see this here, and I think for like a rather early Sherlock Holmes adaptation, I mean, considering that this is only the second adaptation the BBC has done, I think this has some great attention to detail. You can definitely tell that especially the actors loved playing these characters, and that they have great chemistry with one another, that they care about portraying these iconic characters correctly and authentically, especially with Peter Cushing. I think you can tell. Okay, there isn't actually that much more I can say about it. It's a short episode. It's like 45 minutes long, in case you want to catch it now afterwards. Again, I'll leave the link to the episode down in the description below if you want to catch it now. I had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, I love Peter Cushing. I think next to Jeremy Brett, he's like one of my favorite actors who plays Sherlock Holmes in these adaptations. And I think it might even be a step up from like his 1950s performance in The Hound of the Baskervilles, which we've seen before. And like I said, I'd love to come back to this adaptation, to this TV show, if you would like me to cover some other episodes. Like I said, if you want me to cover it, I'll gladly do it. You can put some suggestions down in the comments below, of course, for some other episodes of the show. And of course, also, as always, if you have some other suggestions for future Baker Street reviews, can be a TV show, can be a movie, can be a book, can be a video game, whatever. As long as it has Sherlock Holmes in it, I will take a look at it. So just leave some suggestions down in the comments below if you have an adaptation you would like me to take a look at. That's it for now. I had a lot of fun with it. Do tell me down in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on this particular adaptation and on Peter Cushing as Sherlock Holmes. But for now, this is it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done it already. And I'll see all of you very soon. Goodbye.